dear viewers, and welcome to RTD's English News Edition. Here are our headlines for tonight. The head of state presided over the second edition of citizens' meetings of the RPP party. Death of artists Adan El-Migor and Oriere, the President of the Republic, celebrates the memory of the committed artists. For the regional news concerning Ebola disease, Uganda on its guard. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. The second day of this civic meeting happened this morning at the People's Palace under the patronage of the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh. And upon his arrival on the site of the meeting, the head of state and the First Lady were warmly welcomed by the Prime Minister and the entire government. It is with a standing ovation that the President of the Republic was greeted at the meeting place in the large conference room of the People's Palace.
wadatashi danaha guud dalka horumarkiisiyo ayaha dambe bulshada waa waajib dimuqraadiya qof waliba dul saarane rayigiina ku darsada Dafurka kula kali erbebe wawagatashi danahagu.
This meeting took place in a festive and fraternal atmosphere. All members of the government party executives at any level, members and supporters of the RPP, and a significant number of citizens from Djiboutian civil society took part in this meeting, animated by accesses for March. She took from India the appearance of a customary event in Djibouti where failures and encouragement could not have right of the city. This event was fueled by debates and questions and answers on social issues, activism, basic themes, and the most prominent topics in our society, reflections on citizen engagement and collective interest in the common good, but above all by means of political reflections on the challenges facing the ever-changing world. The head of state, Ismail Omar Guelleh, president of this movement, joined the activists and members of the political bureau late morning for the final session of this meeting started the day for the President of the Republic, along with the General Secretary of the party and his Vice President, took part in the question and answer session of this original meeting, which, although organized by the RPP, provided for the guidance of extending the thought to all the citizens of our country. Founded on 4 March 1979 in Bukhil, in the south of the country, the RPP was born from the merger of several political groups whose leaders have managed to smooth their differences to work together for national unity. As the oldest political party in Djibouti, it has been carried since February 1999 by the head of state, Ismail Omar Guelleh. And as we recall, that the RPP is part of the Union for the Presidential Majority alongside several political parties, including the Front of Restoration of Unity and Democracy, FRUD, and the Social Democratic Party, PST.
dadweynaba waa midnimada teeniye wajiya dareen wacan iyo daacadnimo buuxdo dal jacayl ku dheehayay isbigiya dadweynaba waa midnimada teeniye.
The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, presided today at the second day of citizens' meeting organized by the RPP. During this second day, the President of the Republic answered the questions of the various participants, and it is in constructive dialogue with all the participants, such as researchers, trade unionists, and in short, a representative panel of all the social strata of our country. The main theme of this year's meeting was the creation of a community of destiny. By taking the floor, the head of state decided on ways to consolidate this community of destiny. He mentioned the principle of citizenship and the sharing of common values. The President of the Republic said those who can hinder this concession condition of this community of destiny figure tribalism, social exclusion, gender inequalities, and all other forms of discrimination that impede equality of opportunities. The President of the Republic urged participants to make this fight a priority to fight against these ills. In answering the questions of the participants, the President of the Republic first gave the floor to people with special needs. Thus, the Director of the Agency for Persons with Special Needs took stock of the work carried out so far by the agency and all the efforts of the President of the Republic and his government in favor of persons with disabilities. In particular, he spoke about recent tour in Europe, which allowed him to share many experiences of European countries and their actions in favor of people with disabilities. The Director of the agency, Mr. Douali, focused on the fact that people with disabilities can be productive and have excellent qualities for manual work. Thus, he explained that from now on the agency will create its own factories which will see as workers and employees of people with special needs, and the bottom line is that people with special needs, in addition to their disability, are no longer handicapped by needs and therefore must acquire financial autonomy and not live on alms. Another young man with a mobility disability spoke at length about his case and praised the efforts of the President of the Republic, which enabled him to acquire diplomas. He was very much applauded by the participants, including the head of state. With regard to the status of women, a speaker from Belbela indicated that women are today at the forefront of the country's development, and while fulfilling their duty as mothers and also in the majority in community actions, it's no coincidence, she said, if they are the majority at the head of neighborhood councils. They are also great activists within the RPP party and actively participates in all the activities carried out under the UNFD. That's why we can say today, she said, and she continued, that we women far ahead of the actions of our fellow men for the community. In doing so, she asked the President of the Republic for the endowment of districts of Hayablé and Burwako of community development centers. The young, talented woman was applauded, and the President of the Republic, responding, congratulated the action of the women of these districts represented by young lady for their actions, which are, he said, laudable on more than one title. And with regard to the community center, he asked the party leaders and the department concerned to take note of this request so that these neighborhoods are provided as soon as possible with the community center. In regarding foreign policy and labor, a young trade unionist spoke of the issue of peace and regional level, welcoming the efforts of the President of the Republic for the promotion of peace. And for a long time, he also stressed the total freedom of the foreign policy of the President of the Republic, which has the merit of being independent of all influence and therefore allows the Republic of Djibouti to build relationship with partners around the world. In regards to the workers of the Durali Container Terminal Company, whose message of congratulations from the President of the Republic he conveyed, he said that they have redoubled their efforts, quadrupling the number of containers in operations, and that since the judgment of the company. The President of the Republic, for his part, retraced the history of Djibouti's foreign policy since its accession to independence, indicating that peace in the country was the sign, and as well as its existence. Regarding the Durali terminal, he sent congratulations to the workers of this terminal who have always been the backbone of this spur and therefore have all the professional skills required for handling and of course the management. Another major intervention is that of Umar, formerly a great opponent of the RPP on social networks, who after fruitful debates with young activists of the RPP joined the ranks of the party, and for the first time spoke publicly today in front of the President of the Republic and President of the party to declare his relying to the policy of the head of state. The young Umar explained in his speech that he fought the party firmly and criticized its actions before discovering that some projects that he described as unrealizable and as unrealizable, and false dreams have emerged, citing as an example among others water supply of Hadagala in the new international free zone of Djibouti. He mentioned his opposition being solely political and not tribal or personal. He found it quite logical to convince himself of the credibility and veracity of these projects as soon as they were born. This is the reason that he said, after careful consideration, has naturally encouraged him to join the political line of President Geli. In doing so, he took the opportunity to offer a personal gift to the President of the Republic, in turn congratulating the young woman, highlighting that only after the constructive debate that everyone can see more closely the reality of things in order to make a choice in all serenity. Others speakers also spoke about the issue of corruption, of the spirit of citizenship, questions to which the party president responded at length, stating in particular that the fight against corruption was at the center of his political action, reason for which President Geli asserted many legal instruments have been put in place to provide a comprehensive solution to this bad behavior. It is with an immense sadness that we learned death this morning in Ethiopia of the great Djiboutian artist Aden Elmi. Aden Elmi was evacuated for medical treatment in Ethiopia, where he died this morning. In following this, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, delivered today, Saturday, a vibrant tribute to the memory of the late Aden Elmi Goryere, as a famous Djiboutian composer who died last night in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. In his posthumous tribute, President Guelleh described the late Djiboutian artist-composer as an inveterate patriot who took part in the efforts of our community to achieve national independence. Man of culture and creation, he has subsequently contributed to the influence and growth of our art, said the head of state, and who recalled many songs and artistic productions he authored. May God welcome him to his eternal paradise. Finally, wished the President of the Republic, who expressed his sincere condolences to the family, relatives and friends, as well as all members of the Djiboutian artistic community to which he belonged to. An emblematic figure of the national artistic landscape, the late Djiboutian composer was also highly appreciated by all his compatriots for his accessibility in his natural sympathy. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. As the President said, it's a big loss for the nation. Born in 1950, the late Aden Elmi is best known for having co-authored the national anthem of the Republic of Djibouti with Abdi Roble. The deceased has, to his credit, an important musical and theoretical register. As an artist committed to the struggle for independence, he composed many songs. The best known is Hayya Abo and Thank You Africa. These songs he wrote it to the occasion of the visit of a delegation of the African Union in Djibouti to help our country to reach the independence. All after having composed for several music groups, it is within Gaan Ma'an he will assert himself. His compositions will bring a new touch to the Djiboutian song. Later on, the late Aden Elmi goes on television with shows including the highly successful MSP Magal show. During his career, the late Aden Elmi has been distinguished twice for his work. He leaves behind him a widow and a son and a grandson too. On a working visit to Baku, where he participates alongside several of his Arab, African, Asian and European peers in the solemn celebration of the 110th anniversary of the founding of Milli Majlis, the Azerbaijani parliament, the President of the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali Hamid, in an important speech to the members of the Azerbaijani delegation, stressed at the outset that the Republic of Djibouti and Azerbaijan have a privileged relationship that continues to consolidate. It is a year to the day that my country has adopted a resolution commemorating the massacre of Azerbaijani civilians in the city of Khojaly in 1992, and we strongly condemned, he said, the attacks on the population of a country brother and friend, said the Speaker of the Parliament of Djibouti. Adding that I reaffirm here from this restroom that the acquisition of a territory by the use of force is contrary and inadmissible under the Charter of the United Nations. In spite of the kilometers that separate us, known that we are proud and very attached to the ties that unite our two countries and our two people, and make sure of our constant and unfailing support, he insisted. And to wrap up the national news, as part of the visit of the primary schools in rural areas, a parliamentary delegation led by the deputies Hassan Naumar, accompanied by Deputy Prefect Habib Jilani, and a team of the regional inspection of Tajora made this Thursday an inspection visit to the school of Ripta in Surat village at 12 kilometers from Tajora region. They made an inventory of the number of children enrolled in the educational framework available in the schools. The meeting with the villagers was an opportunity to discuss ways and means to put in place and to improve the learning conditions of a school or students. The role of parents has been singled out because the personal investment of the latter is essential to the encouragement and success of children's education. And now moving on to the outside news, authorities in Uganda are on the high alert after the Democratic Republic of Congo on Friday confirmed a case of Ebola on its border with Uganda. The new infection is almost 200 kilometers, as in 125 miles away from the nearest other known as case in Congo's current Ebola outbreak, which is believed to have killed 97 people since July and infected another 46 in North Kivu and Ituri provinces. Ituri province's Vice Governor Ketaobar said in a statement that the latest Ebola case had been reported in Shomia on the shores of Lake Albert. It is the closest the disease has come to Uganda. In Congo's eastern neighbor, Uganda's health ministry said on Thursday it was preparing to deploy vaccinations against the virus should it spread it to its territory. Congo has experienced 10 outbreaks of Ebola since it was discovered in the country's east and north in 1976. The disease causes hemorrhagic fever, vomiting and diarrhea and kills about half of the people it affects. Health officials have made progress slowing the spread of the virus with experimental vaccines and treatments. But the violence and turmoil in eastern Congo has made some areas difficult to access. And moving on now to Tanzania, a man has been rescued from ferry that capsized on Lake Victoria, Tanzania. 2 days after it's overturned with the loss of at least 207 lives. The engineer, named locally Alfonso Garani, reportedly survived in air pocket inside the MV, which capsized near Ukara Island on its way from Bugurora. On Thursday, it is thought the ship tipped when passengers moved over to one side. Divers resumed the search for survivors on Saturday after hearing knocking noises. The engineer had locked himself in a small room inside the ship, and the divers pulled him out of the vessel, and bodies are still being taken out of the water. And reporters on state broadcasters cited the transport minister saying the death toll had risen to 207. On Friday, Tanzania's President John Magufuli said that he had ordered the arrest of all those who managed the ferry and declared 4 days of national mourning. Local media says that ferry's official capacity was 100 people, but officials say the vessel was carrying more than twice the number when it capsized. The ferry was said to have been particularly busy because it was market day in Pukurara. And that's all for this news. Thank you for joining us on Radio Television of Djibouti, and have a good night.